From Rich Alvarez in Northern California, this is Video Game Fights. And now your host, Rich Alvarez.
Hello and welcome back to Video Game Fights, Season 2.
Season 2!
We are back.
It's happening!
And as you can see, we're in a new location. It's going to be a lot of fun. And unless we have any more problems, this is where the show is going to stay for forever. Isn't that right, Garrett?
And now you jinxed it.
Forever?
No, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, what did I get agree to?
Alright, so this is a very special episode. I'm wearing my very lucky Pikachu hat because this is an all Pokemon episode. All 5 questions have to do with Pokemon, and even the speed round is all Pokemon. I have chosen the 3 best Pokemon experts that I could dig up. You know them all. It's Garrett, Jackie, and Chris. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves really quickly?
I'm Garrett. You probably know me from here on this channel and the Complaint Department on Twitch.
I'm Jax. I like Pokemon and I also like animals, so they're Pokemon in real life.
I'm Chris. Richie and I have been making videos for a long time. And Pokemon's really fun.
Happy 11 years, guys.
Excellent,
Oh,
excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
Anyways, so you guys know how this works. I'm going to ask 5 questions. Everybody gets to answer their question, and then afterwards everyone will get to argue with each other, and the best argument will win. It's a little bit different this time, though. Starting now, instead of 2 minutes, everyone only gets 1.5 minutes to explain their answer.
It's gonna get that good part.
That's right. It's going to speed up the show and make my life a little less stressful. All right. And without further ado, round 1. Question goes to Garrett first. What is the best Pokemon?
You ready with that timer?
You have 1.5 minutes.
Solid. So I picked Gyarados, I kind of wish I had gotten a chance to go third because mine's kind of a counter with context to the others. But I really like Gyarados. Gyarados was an important Pokemon for me because despite being sea monsters, and I love sea monsters kind of within mythology, and Gyarados kind of epitomizes that as the big sea monster Pokemon of Gen 1. Gyarados, more so than so many other Pokemon, is such a big fight to acquire. You have to jump through all these hoops that you wouldn't usually do so, and especially amongst Gen 1, before like a lot of the other conditionals for evolution became a thing, the idea of raising a Magikarp up to level 20 in order to basically meet the prerequisites was kind of a journey out of itself that made Gyarados somebody that, even if you weren't using him, was an accomplishment in and of itself. You had a Gyarados. So that's really, really cool. Gyarados saw, a good regiment of competitive play, especially early on, with a really, really solid moveset. Glorious Hyper Beam, as we always know, and quite curiously, Gyarados stands out as probably the only Pokemon that, to this day, both of my parents can identify. It's probably the only one. So he did sit very, very strong in that regard. But yeah, solid Pokemon, consistently terrifying, big, awesome presence within both the show and the games, and has conditionally over and over seen good play.
Oh wow, that was 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Solid.
Look at you.
I'm super efficient.
All right, Jackie, who is the best Pokemon?
I chose Charizard, and that is because way back in the 90s, little old Jax was playing her Pokemon game, and she chose Charizard as her starter. And ever since then, well, I mean, not ever since then, because I couldn't transfer Charizard over to my game, so starting at Leaf Green, I chose Charizard again because I chose Charizard when I was young, and ever since then I have the same Charizard transferred over to every single game, and he is now in my Pokemon Moon. So I chose Charizard because I love him. He's not my favorite starter, and he's not my favorite Pokemon, but right now I'm saying that he is the best Pokemon for various reasons. And that would be because he's everyone's favorite. He's a lovable guy. He's sweet. He's got very well-rounded stats. Who could not love Charmander? I think that's all I have to say.
All right, and just to clarify, when you say you start with Charizard, you mean you start with Charmander and group him into Charizard?
Yes.
Excellent.
She started with Charizard.
It
was brutal. It was like she like this, and it was like rah.
All right, question goes to Chris. Chris, who is the best Pokemon?
All right, we ready?
Yeah, it's going.
So, the best, we're going to have to define our terms here. So I think there's a couple ways, or a few ways you can go with best. You can go with most iconic, most rare, or most powerful. I'm going to make the case that best means most powerful, because ultimately Pokemon is about fighting and being the very best like no one ever was. So, why is Mewtwo the best? Well, according to the Sylph Road, Mewtwo, when you rank him against all other Pokemon, including the legendaries, blows everybody else out of the water when it comes to base attack. So we're going to bust out some facts over here. Mewtwo has a base attack of 330. The next closest one is Tyranitar from Gen 2, who comes in at 251. So already, the next closest one is a bazillion points behind. Now, if we're going to compare Mewtwo to Charizard or Gyarados, Gyarados is the 11th best attacker. He comes in with a base of 237. Charizard is the 37th best attacker, and this is just for Gen 1 and Gen 2, comparing legendaries, coming in at 223. So clearly Mewtwo is the most powerful. A few other interesting things about Mewtwo. If you saw the Pokemon first movie, he can talk. Only other sentient Pokemon that talks in Gen 1 would be Meowth, and nobody likes Meowth because he's just kind of dumb. Other interesting thing about Mewtwo is he's the hardest one to catch.
That's a minute and 30 seconds, Chris. We'll never hear the next thing you were about to say. All right, before we go free for all, Jackie, I saw your face getting really wound up there. Let me ask you first. Why is Charizard better than Mewtwo?
Charizard is better than Mewtwo because Charizard can be used in competitive play. Whereas Mewtwo and all other legendaries are banned from competitive play because they are legendaries. Also, legendaries are only chosen by 12-year-olds.
And now free for all. Free for all!
So, I love Mewtwo. Confession time. I love Mewtwo, and in fact, I think a lot of times during this this show tonight, I'm going to start arguments with like, Chris, I really liked your answer because it does sit well within me. But if a comic book fan comes forward and says that their favorite superhero is Superman, isn't that kind of like, huh? Isn't that kind of what? Why? You know, so. Of course Mewtwo is the strongest Pokemon by a large margin, you know, like, of course that's you know, that sort of thing. But strong really doesn't mean interesting. You know, just that Pokemon that you saved the Master Ball for to catch in one slay at the end, to have as your 150th entry, and then do nothing with, because at that point you've cleared, you know, the board and whatnot, and just to roam around the map as an overpowered, you know, just sort of psychic nuke factory, isn't necessarily going to be something that really strikes a giant emotional chord with people. Remember that time that somebody used a Mewtwo in like a competitive comp? No, it doesn't happen because, you know, he's banned. Remember that time someone used Mewtwo to beat the Elite Four? No, he's not there for any of those big moments in the game because he's so much later on. Which kind of takes me over to my arguments against Charizard. Charizard's a solid Pokemon. Again, and Charmander was my Gen 1 choice for the most part. But you gotta admit, he's kind of everybody's favorite. He is the one that is like the poster child for that sort of thing.
Which could also be argued as best Pokemon.
Correct, but I also don't think people are that smart. The popular choice doesn't necessarily mean the best choice. Gyarados does beat him in a fight pretty much every single time.
You know, it's interesting you say that because
I know there's ways to tools him. I know there's ways to tool him in where he's really good against, like...
Charizard is faster.
He is faster.
If he can get a move out on a one-hit KO, or possibly, you know...
Hydro Pump.
Is that
I actually don't know if that's a good set, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, a really strong water-based attacks with Gyarados' massive attack up front is going to be really hard to beat.
It's true, but if you can't even get that out.
You know what? You got one turn and he's a tank, so like good luck. If your Charizard can beat my Gyarados in one shot, that's pretty much the only way it's gonna happen. So there we go. Also, it kind of, you know, it's almost kind of the exact opposite of my argument that I made with Chris. Whereas like Mewtwo arrives way too late in any of the adventures to be significant, Charizard is just kind of presented to you. You just kind of get it. And then if you don't get him, then it's like whatever.
Alright, I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
Chris, I have not heard enough from you during this argument session.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Well, I have two things to say. First off, we never said whether or not we were going by competitive rules or not. In a vacuum, Mewtwo still is the best and the most powerful. Second, I was going to say, Gyarados, I mean, big overgrown fish, easily defeated.
He's a
Huge
beautiful
sea monster.
Leviathan.
He's sushi.
Beautiful
Giant
Leviathan.
siege monster.
I would
Yeah.
say I'm still going
I should've
by
been
what I
doing
said, which is fastest, most powerful. We never said what the exact circumstances were and which the rules were. Yeah,
But that's what's so great about this game.
It could be.
It's almost like Richie chooses very deeply subjective and
I will
ambiguous
say this,
criteria on
though.
purpose.
I will say this: there are fewer Pokemon that can really take down Mewtwo, because Mewtwo can only be defeated by Dark, Ghost, and Bug. Like, there aren't that many good Bug Pokemon. There's a few really good Dark and Ghost, but in a fight, who would win? Mewtwo, Gyarados, and Charizard. Mewtwo would win in a fight.
He's only half Pokemon.
Okay. Last thing I need to hear, Jackie: Charizard versus Gyarados. Why do you think Charizard is better than Gyarados?
Well, it was pretty tough because in a battle, it was kind of tough to find a way around
That's just one of the criteria, though.
That's true.
And it's not really fair. I picked a
Everyone
water
has
Pokemon.
their weaknesses.
I really hope if I played a Gyarados, you would just go, whoops, let's get Charizard out of here and play something that's good against Gyarados.
You know,
Yeah.
if we were actually battling, I probably would. But I would say I was reading some of the Pokedex entries for Gyarados, and he is a monster. He's some of them are huge and vicious, is capable of destroying entire cities in a rage, brutally vicious and enormously destructive. Once it appears, it goes on a rampage. It remains enraged until it demolishes everything around it. Yada yada yada. But besides that, it had to start somewhere, and it started as a measly old Magikarp. Measly little old Magikarp.
Worst Pokemon.
And that's the opposite of beastly in every form. And Magikarp has 3 moves that it ever learns, and one of them is learnted after it has already evolved into a Gyarados. So it's after it's even
Yeah, you have to
past
already
level
master
20.
your master
So
opportunity.
you're hanging out with Tackle and Splash. Splash was it? Let me double check.
Okay.
No, you're right. You're right.
And
All right.
Splash doesn't do anything.
Garrett, I'm 12 years old. Which plush am I coming home with as a 12-year-old boy?
As a 12-year-old?
I'm 12 years
As a-
old.
as
I'm
a
at the
12-year-old
toy store.
user.
I'm getting a plush of one of these 3 Pokemon. Why?
Oh, well, you're probably getting the one that either... 12-year-olds are going to pick things probably based on what is closest to them, which is either going to be probably either Mewtwo or Charizard. Gyarados, in that condition, doesn't win. But I'm not arguing on the taste of a 12-year-old here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
So
So,
I didn't choose a legendary because I knew that I could do this without legendaries.
right. Chris,
Well, you know
people
what?
that-
I think that Jackie just said 12-year-olds pick legendaries.
They do.
So I think I
People
win that
would pick
one
Mewtwo.
because they would pick Mewtwo.
I
Well,
suppose
we're-
the
But why
We're not going
why would
by-
I choose a Mewtwo plush to come home with?
Because he's
Because he's in the movie.
We're
That's
not
why.
going-
He's the best. Because he's in the movie. Because they made a movie about him. Not because, like, people have an interesting connection with him.
All
We're
right.
not going by the best according to a 12-year-old. We're going by best according to everybody.
I'm gonna stop
And
y'all.
wait! I have one more thing.
Okay. One more thing.
This is really heartbreaking. I need to get this out. I need to find the information. Okay, Mewtwo's Pokedex entries. Let's go with those, shall we? How about Mewtwo is a Pokemon that was created by genetic manipulation.
That's
However,
actually
even
badass.
though the scientific power of humans created this Pokemon body, they failed to endow Mewtwo with a compassionate heart. A Pokemon whose genetic code was repeatedly recombined for research. It turned vicious as a result. It was created by a scientist after years of horrific gene splicing and DNA engineering experiments.
You're not selling yet.
You know,
all
you're-
that sounds awesome.
This-
just like when you were reading Gyarados entries, and I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty dope.
Again, what's the most powerful?
Okay.
This is
Clearly,
This round has gone way
Wait, no, wait! I haven't even gotten to my point.
You're 3 paragraphs in.
Okay, I'll do it really
Alright,
fast.
guys, welcome back to
point,
Video Game
my
Fights.
point is that Mewtwo has been a poor. Okay, he was taken and he was experimented on, just like some character in Stranger Things that has a horrible backstory, and nothing ever comes from something good. Nothing comes good from
All that sounds awesome.
any
All that
experimentation.
sounds
No,
awesome.
it doesn't. It sounds
So
horrible. And
basically,
I feel very
what
sad
Jackie's
for
saying is
Mewtwo.
Mewtwo isn't Superman, he's Batman.
No. It's
And
literally
with that,
Superman.
I
It's
think-
literally Superman.
I think we know who the best Pokemon is.
No, Chris.
You can't pull the Batman card.
Anyways,
Just as you're sitting
I
next to Batman.
had my answer like 3-4 minutes ago.
I think
No,
the
that's good.
judge
That's
is,
good. That's good.
Very fast.
Can we start some hair
All right.
pulling? Let's do this.
I want to give kudos to all of you for having very impassionate answers.
That's why we show up.
However, there was one answer that was very clear to me, and I'm just going to say that the winner of this round is Jackie.
Whoa.
Jackie! And here's
Whoa.
why. Because she came with all of her information. She printed out the damn Pokedex things, you know. She was the most prepared. She came with the best reasons. And I felt like she was really good at defending why Charizard was better all around and not just from certain points of views. I was just getting good answers from her. You guys all gave great answers. But I just felt like Jackie's was the most genuine.
I have to
Peanut
say,
Gallery, do you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
I also like Charizard.
I have to say that it was really hard coming up with arguments for Gyarados and Mewtwo because they are actually really, really solid Pokemon. Actually, every single one of these, we all came with great answers. So
And
I
round
found-
2. I didn't even hit it. Okay, round
Look,
2.
Before you ding.
Yes. All right.
And this is where I go downhill.
Question 2.
Well, good, you're starting.
But I just want you guys to know that the behind you that you cannot see because we only have 2 cameras today is Mr. Andrew Irish.
Hi, Andy.
And he's doing a fantastic job. That's why it looks so good today. All right. The question goes to Jackie first. Round 2.
That's right.
Jackie, pitch a Pokemon VR experience or game. And you have, as soon as I open my phone again, timer starts now.
In general, I would love a Pokemon VR experience. That sounds really cool. And I also really love Fallout and the game engine, creation engine that is from Fallout 4. And so I think in that kind of engine, a Pokemon VR experience would be really cool, where you can find Pokemon in the wild. They might come up and try to attack you. They might be a friendly little Pikachu. But I love that open world idea and being able to raise your skills. You could be a breeder. You could be a Pokemon trainer. You can be a gym leader. You can do anything, and it's all based on this experience that Creation Engine has created.
And that's all.
Ding.
Dang.
Ding, ding.
All right. Chris, pitch a Pokemon VR experience or game.
All right, so I'm gonna do a hybrid here. I'm picking an MMO VR. So,
Going for the top
who
shelf.
would you guys say is probably the best at making MMOs currently? Well, that would be Blizzard in World of Warcraft. That's been
BioWare.
around for years and years and years. Well, we have a biased judge over here.
Don't
but
start another argument.
anyway, I guess ultimately it doesn't matter who makes the MMO, but I'm going with Blizzard because they've proven time and time and again they've made great games. So, for my VR MMO, essentially what it would be is you would have, just like the regular games, a starter, except you would have to do the typical MMO things. You start off at level 0, you grind all the way up to 100. It would be great because in addition to having the amazing fun aspect of being in an MMO with tons of other people, the VR side would be you'd be popping a headset on, so it could be compatible with Oculus Rift, or HTC Vive, or Microsoft HoloLens, or PlayStation, whatever. I mean, I'm sure since Blizzard doesn't have their own VR, I don't know, no PlayStation. But the point is, it'd be really fun.
It's literally PlayStation VR.
PlayStation VR. There we go.
Is that it, Chris?
No, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
How much time do I have left?
You have 20 seconds.
20 seconds. Okay, so anyway, my point is, there's a joke that if Nintendo ever runs out of money, they have a room with something behind a glass wall and they break it and it just says Pokemon MMO. It will make millions and billions and economies will stop because people will be playing it so much. It will be great if Blizzard makes it like they do with World of Warcraft.
I gave you a couple extra seconds because I interrupted you. So.
I interrupted you too.
All right, Garrett.
Which I thought was hilarious, but I apologize.
Pitch Pokemon VR experience / game.
Okay. So I personally have a VR, and I'm going to go ahead and sell myself as maybe the person who has the most intrinsic sort of experience with what's out there and what's available there. I think that we all remember Pokemon Arena. We all have a fond memory of Pokemon Arena and what it had to offer. I think as far as like what we've got going right now for VR, that's what's attainable. That should be what we're shooting for. Pokemon Arena, as set in VR, has a lot of pluses. One, focuses right down, narrows in on the most important part, the battles. Which, if you think about an MMO or a VR experience, the battles are going to be what we're really, really focusing on. That's what we're going to be wrapped around. That's what we're going to be put intrinsic in. The big reason why that's going to be cool is VRs, to anybody who has a VR, standing space, moving space is a big factor there. We don't really have a good mechanism for like movement in an RPG sense in VR yet. It would need to, suffice for that. No game out there really has come up with a good mechanism for open world movement as VR presents itself. So we're already working against the idea that there had to be a ground up redesign of existing VR systems, something revolutionary. Working against the grain a bit there. Pokemon Arena, you could be in place, you could play it in a room. I don't have a big room for my VR. I could play Arena no problem in there and experience the grandeur of the battles. Nobody has so far created a competent RPG in VR, and Pokemon hasn't licensed it up either. Why could we have both?
Okay. And just again to clarify, by a Pokemon Arena type game, you mean something akin to like a Pokemon Coliseum or Pokemon Stadium?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I suppose I should have used that keyword, but I think we're on the same page.
Alrighty then. And now we're just going to go straight to free-for-all arguing. Go, go, go!
Chris, come at me! No, I'm kidding.
I'll say it this way. So, you were talking about Pokemon Stadium.
Correct.
And those games were fun for like 5 minutes until they got boring. Which genre has basically had people throwing money for monthly subscriptions for over 10 years? MMOs.
Which genre has a significant decline in subscriptions and has to struggle finding a new business model? MMOs.
Well, not every Blizzard. Every other one, but they're still
Blizzard has held on, but we're not. I wouldn't say World of Warcraft in its current state is the
fighting
target.
games oversaturated. There's too many fighting games. Now it's true with the VR twist. You did. I will say Garrett did a good job really focusing on the VR side, which is because none of us really talked about if it was going to be like free range. Are you moving around in a giant room like HTC Vive, or are you just sitting stationary? So I did like that you were trying to build it from the ground up. I think that your VR idea is great. I think that if you had picked that and then pitched MMO, it would have been better, because I think fighting's kind of boring.
No one's even begun to create an MMO in VR, though. That doesn't even exist. Also, in what reality do you live in where the universe has coincided to create a functional relationship where Nintendo is giving the Pokemon license to Blizzard?
They gave the Pokemon license to Niantic. So clearly they have set a precedent where they have
Niantic is like them throwing a bone to some little guy who has an experience in a niche market,
and then them
tossing it to Blizzard. But them tossing it to Blizzard, that's like them giving it to Activision. That's a giant competitor.
They did Mario vs. Rabbids. They've given, Mario to Minecraft and Microsoft. Like, clearly Nintendo...
These are very limited archetypes.
I think I've proven that they...
These are very limited archetypes.
I will say fighting ultimately will get boring. MMOs have an endless world that you can explore.
Jackie, we need to hear from you. I know you're not thrilled about this question. I know you're not thrilled on it.
I am not, and I have probably little to no experience with VR except for what you and you have showed me.
Well, let me stem this. You and Chris are pitching largely the same sort of thing, but Chris is coinciding that the best experience is going to be in multiplayer, whereas you are coinciding that largely the same presentation is going to be best in single player.
I love single player games.
Yeah.
And are there any VR MMOs?
There are none.
There are none.
It's never even been attempted.
It'd be groundbreaking.
That would be groundbreaking, but also...
I think they should figure out how you move around.
Trash fire?
Maybe.
Could it also be a huge trash fire? Could be.
Right now, like, in December, we're going to get Fallout VR.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's probably going... And then we're also going to get Doom VR. And I think those are going to determine whether or not VR is even in a position where it has a functional move system within the open world. But right now, I don't think anybody has the right to claim that they've really functionally mastered an open world VR environment.
I would say Pokemon Go is probably the closest thing we have, since it's augmented reality, not virtual reality, and it being the most profitable, successful, breaking records mobile app ever. That's probably more on the Pokemon franchise than anything else. If somebody could get it right It could be Pokemon.
Maybe we should save my arguments for the Pokemon Go. I've got
Chris,
a lot to say about that.
Here's what I need to know from you.
Yes.
How would an MMO Pokemon, World of Warcraft style MMO work in VR? Like,
Yes.
how would you move around in that VR?
Yeah.
You have the headset on. What are you doing physically?
Yeah. So I would say there'd be two options. You could go the route where it's HTC Vive, where you're in a room, but that'd be a little bit trickier. So I would say for now, instead of going 100% full immersion VR, it would be you're just sitting down and then you're moving around with a helmet, because
And
to
then
be able
controller.
to and a controller, yeah,
Controller in hand? Okay.
yeah, because to scale to full blown moving in VR, you'd have to have like a giant, huge room, or you'd have to have one of those little multi-treadmill things like you see in Ready Player One, which we'll be getting to later.
Right.
All right. Garrett,
but-
how's yours work?
So-
Move right along, Chris.
No, yeah, I was gonna say almost. So, if we're gonna go for the top freaking shelf, where we're combining the best of all tangible sort of options, an MMO, an open world RPG, throw it in VR. I haven't even brought up the fact that I can't even imagine what it would take, what rig would be involved in running that.
Yeah.
You're already pitching something where like the tiniest fraction of 1% of pretty much exclusively PC or only high-end PlayStation users can even access this, so you have a low user base at that point. And then second of all, like, you're going to sit them in a chair. What's the point of VR at that point? It's sure, you might as well just be sitting in a projector room. You know, the only way this works is if you're standing up and moving around. And then at that point, it has to be an archetype where functionally stationary movement works. And I don't know if anything
But
outside
if
of a
you're going to
Coliseum
move
environment
around,
works.
how are you going to move around if you're in a room crowded with a bunch of crap? Like,
Well,
you
that's-
have to-
That's
you
exactly
would
how
have-
the HTC Vive works.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean,
people,
it works,
the controllers on the
but
Vive.
it's pretty small.
Yeah, the controllers on the Vive have allowed for some kind of like point and go this way sort of mechanisms and whatnot, and that's what the Fallout VR experience is going to use. But I don't know. Do we want to do that for the Pokemon VR? Because in my mind, it can't even exist unless it's accessible to a wide audience, and right now it's not.
Okay, here's where I'm at. Jackie, yours sounded the most plausible, but I didn't hear enough from you. And I don't, yeah, this was not your category, clearly. Chris, I just didn't feel like what you were pitching justified VR 100%. So
We
I
do
was
need a
pitching-
Pokemon
The
MMO.
winner is Garrison Brown!
Yeah, I was pitching an MMO more than a VR.
We
I was
are
gonna
the
say-
two in the room that
Yeah.
don't have VR.
Yeah.
So.
Correct. And that almost is an argument of itself. People don't have VR. It can't be. You can't have a VR MMO yet.
All right.
Yeah,
So
it'd be like 9 people.
Okay.
so Garrett just won that one?
That's, 1 point for Jackie,
I
1
mean-
point for Garrett. Alright, and now we're moving on to round trice.
Trice.
Oh, good. And I get to start this time.
You
And
do.
we are starting the question.
And this
goes,
is
Chris,
where you are strongest.
Yeah.
This is where you are strongest.
What is the worst aspect of Pokemon Go?
The worst aspect of Pokemon Go was the change in the gym system. I've been playing a ton of Pokemon Go the past few weeks for the Legendary release, and here's why it sucks. Niantic, and all their genius, created a system where to win, you have to lose. What do I mean by that? Let's say you put Pokemon in a gym. After it's been there for a certain amount of time, the max amount of coins you can get in one day is 50 coins. But you can't get your coins unless you get defeated by somebody else. So what sucks is if you are really, really, really good at the game and you put a Pokemon in a gym, you're so good you get punished for it because you can't recall your Pokemon. The only way you can get your money back, or get your Pokemon back and then get the gold to buy the in-game currency, is if somebody else defeats your Pokemon. And then it comes out. It used to be a different system. This is a newer system that they released. So that's why I think that it's completely ass backwards, because Niantic is essentially punishing players for being good. They're basically giving a win for a loss. Some of the other things that are frustrating is you can only get a max of 50 coins per day. So if you have 10 Pokemon in gyms and then they all get kicked out the same day, the most you can get is 50 coins. They should fix that. The gym system is absolutely broken, and it just doesn't make sense that they're punishing quality players for being quality players. So that's it. Gym system's broken.
Excellent. Alright, question to Garrett. What is the worst aspect of Pokemon Go?
Gotcha. It turns out that me and Chris are agreeing to a small degree here, because I'm going to widen out to the idea that I think major systems are still missing from the overall Pokemon experience. I am going to say that for a game that focuses so much, and really the entire experience hinges on the social element of this game, this is a social game. it's not functional in a sense where outside of it's like it's very, very, very strong social element, which has of course been brilliant. I need not to overhaul existing systems. I want new battle systems. I want new ways to interact and cause my Pokemon to fight. Because right now the gyms are kind of the only way to do it. That's the only way that my Pokemon are fighting in a game that is about fighting. Taking your words from earlier, Chris said Pokemon is a game about fighting. And trainers fighting trainers is like the crux of the entire story. It literally is. And so much of the enjoyment out of this, I feel like Pokemon Go can't even be legitimized as a full-blown Pokemon game until trainers can fight trainers. That's what I was looking forward to. That's what I've been missed so far. So I think the battle systems need to be overhauled and expanded outside of existing systems.
Excellent. Jackie, what is the worst part about Pokemon Go?
I agree that the current gym system is pretty bad and the limited battle systems is pretty terrible, but none of that would ever be a thing if the servers weren't terrible. Every single time I boot up my game, almost always, the damn thing crashes. And, you know, when I'm trying to catch a Pokemon, it just crashes, everything crashes, and when they first, you know, started up the entire app, nobody could get on because the servers were down. And just every time I go on and I see servers are down as the, you know, loading screen, it's just like, come on, Niantic, you gotta upgrade those servers. You're getting money from all those in-game things that you're trying to sell people and servers.
That's it, Jackie?
Servers.
All right. Free for all!
Alright, so here's why both Jack
Come at me.
and Garrett are wrong.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do this.
One, because you can already do a lot of fights. It's true that we need to do one-on-one PvP fights, but the gyms do allow two kinds of fighting. Raids, you didn't mention. You're fighting giant Pokemon. They're brand new. They're great. And that is another kind of fight thing. So that is another aspect in the right direction where there is a ton of fighting. And you do fight other players in gyms. It's not active, it's passive because they pop their Pokemon in and they go. And then the other thing I'll say to Jackie, the reason why the servers are bad actually is not Niantic's fault. It's the stress load on cell towers, which Garrett could probably go into more because he knows about this. But the reason that Pokemon Go Fest in Chicago sucked wasn't actually Niantic's fault. It was AT&T and Verizon's fault because they didn't put enough extra bandwidth out. Now, it is kind of Niantic's fault because they should have communicated better, but it has to do with extra bandwidth on cell servers. So it doesn't matter if it's Niantic or another company. If Nintendo was doing it themselves, it's the infrastructure for how many people are on cell phones. So if you get too many people in one spot, like you did with Pokemon Go Fest in Chicago, they're going to crash the servers because they're not designed, like it's trying to fit too much water through a tiny pipe. So the issue isn't really Niantic, it's trying to get more cell phone companies to increase bandwidth and have what they call basically like temporary stand-in cell towers to give an extra boost of bandwidth.
Yeah, I actually have to commend you on a very well-informed answer. I do work in telecom, and yes, servers are great. Problem is that the servers are, obviously a mega, dollar, sort of contribution here. And for exactly Chris's reason, solutions are going to need to stem elsewhere. Because, yeah, right now the cell phone infrastructure is what it is. It's designed for certain materials, and this always-on, downloading maps, sending information to and from, is just a little out of the... And like thousands of people doing it is a little out of the scope of like the traffic that current things are designed for. So new servers are only going to do so much. Meanwhile, to Chris, is gym stacking like really what we want like the future of this game to be? Where it's just like you go to a gym, there's a big exchange there, and that's basically the thing. Because in my mind, the more we invest in gyms, the more we get into the disparaging between gyms players and experienced players. Gyms is important because it's the only way you get in-game currency. I realize that, but that could also be a criticism of the gym system. You need it because Niantic's got to make money somehow because it's freemium, but the reason that they need to rework the gyms is so that you can actually have a way to get the in-currency gold and buy gear and extra stuff. So that's why it's so important. Because they're punishing you for doing well. Woo!
Okay. All right. I've heard enough. Man, if this was all we ever heard about Pokemon Go, people would be like, that game sounds terrible.
I know, right? Well,
we haven't gotten to...
Got a lot of problems.
We're not...
It's
I don't claim fault for bad press on Pokemon Go. It's been out there.
I only got a minute and a half to critique the worst.
Okay, so...
There's fun stuff, too.
This time, I think that the most well-informed answer has to go to Chris.
I didn't even get to say anything.
Well, you didn't speak up during the argument session.
Because I was being talked over.
Did you have something to say?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to Chris. So that means we are 1 to 1 to 1.
Right.
Everybody has 1 point,
Oh, boy.
which basically means no one has a point.
Yeah, right.
So,
All right, round 4.
Here we go.
This is by far my favorite question of this Pokemon
You're going to be
game.
really judgmental here.
Yeah.
Let's
So,
just be clear.
it goes to Garrett first.
Right.
Who should direct the live-action Pokemon movie?
And I know you're surprised by this answer, but I think it should be Peter Jackson. Because I try to think about what I love about Pokemon and what is like significant to me in the whole experience and whatnot, and the term world building keeps coming up. I mean, that's really what Pokemon succeeded. It created a world that we wanted to live in, a world that we fell in love with, and a world that we couldn't wait to be a part of in a meaningful way. There's a lot of directors out there that have obviously a ton of credits. There's a beautiful repertoire of like very talented artists out there, but Peter Jackson really kills it at world building. Of course, my Lord of the Rings fan bias is coming through here a whole lot, but I would be so moved to experience like something of that scale, like really, really the beauty of that natural world, the epic span of the adventure that Pokemon is, because that's what it is to me. It's an adventure, It's more so in battling systems and whatnot. It's an experience of the whole world. I also think Pokemon is an interesting sort of archetype because you really do have like 2 full generations of Pokemon fans here. You have young fans, you have old fans, and you need something that's going to rope in that whole thing and bring them together for one contentious experience. I think something that really, really tugs at those childlike heartstrings of adventure while also maintaining a somewhat mature tone is something that Peter Jackson could and has previously really executed on effectively. And that all amounts to kind of what I would like to see.
Okay. Jackie, who do you think should direct the live-action Pokemon movie? Go!
I chose Brad Bird because I think that a Pokemon game or Pokemon movie would need a well-rounded, family-friendly director and also a pretty good action director. So with his repertoire of Mission Impossible, there goes the action, and the Incredibles and the Iron Giant. And Ratatouille, of course. And then upcoming Incredibles 2. But Iron Giant tells the story of a boy and his Iron Giant. And I feel like that the story of Iron Giant is very add in a Pokemon as the Iron Giant, and you have a heartfelt story about 2 friends, and I think that he could do a fabulous job at a Pokemon movie.
Ding?
Ding.
Ding!
All right, Chris, who should direct the live-action Pokemon movie?
Steven Spielberg. Do you remember E.T., Indiana Jones,
Never
Hook?
heard of him. Never
Dare
heard
I
of him.
say, some of the greatest movies, even Jurassic Park. So, why am I saying Steven Spielberg? Let's go through some of his movies. E.T. We have a kid with a deep connection for an alien creature that nobody had seen before. By the end of the film, we really feel for him. Jurassic Park. We have this great sense of adventure with all these kind of fantastical creatures that are kind of scary. Then we get Indiana Jones as a great adventure, but really I think Hook is another important one as well, because we're having a good point that Garrett made. We need to be thinking of 2 generations, kids that are currently playing Pokemon and then adults that have the nostalgia for it. And I think that that's why he would be great, because Hook is a perfect film where kids and adults can like it. Kids can relate to, the fantastical, Lost Boys and everything. And then adults can really relate to Robin Williams, who's trying to come to terms with kind of a lost, forgotten past. So I think, and then finally, we've got Ready Player One coming up, which is a great video game film. I think that even though a lot of his older films were the more nostalgic-y, fun childhood, whimsical ones, I think that if Spielberg did a Pokemon movie, it would help him get back in touch with that fun, adventure-y, care for a creature kind of idea.
Right on the nose.
Solid.
All right. And now it's free for all!
Alright, Chris, as far as Ready Player One goes, we have not seen it. All we've seen is one trailer.
And it looks awesome.
It's a good trailer!
It's a great trailer.
But you bring up an incredibly valid point.
But it could be a shit show of a movie.
But it could also
knows?
be amazing.
It could also be amazing, but also the BFG, Chris. The BFG, did you see that?
I didn't.
Ooh, I rest my case there.
So this could be his big comeback. It's true.
Ooh.
It's true that you know every director is going to have a film that kind of sucks. Spielberg may have a lot, but this could be his
Yeah,
comeback.
because Bird has knocked it out of the park 100% of his entire career. You know, like that whole sort of
Pretty
thing.
good chunk of it.
Yeah, he's actually, but both of these people are. That being said, it's hard to gauge that because Steven Spielberg is a risk taker.
He is a risk taker, and he
So,
does so many movies.
I know. He's
I will say with Garrett, he's right that the world building would be amazing. It'd be great. But Peter Jackson is really only good at Lord of the Rings. That would also be a risk. Can he make something good that's not Lord of the Rings?
There's an interesting word that flows around here though, and that's adaptation. And that's where I get real nervous about Spielberg Pokemon.
Oh.
Because think about it, Spielberg directs Spielberg EPs. You know, really, that is where his career is built on. We don't have, as soon as you get into the
Jurassic Park was an adaptation.
It
and
was an
people
adaptation.
loved it. Now
It
might
was
not have
a
been perfect adaptation,
loose
but
adaptation.
it was still good, and people liked the movie.
That being said, Jurassic Park was phenomenal, but if we're going to judge it purely on an adaptation of Michael Crichton's world, we can begin to poke a lot of holes there.
I mean, I would say that any film adapted from a source material is going to have to take artistic liberties to make it a good movie. Sometimes you have to change stuff, because a book might be good as a book, but you have to change things to make it a good movie experience.
Yeah, you know who did that really well with a nearly impossible repertoire at his disposal?
Do you know how many people get pissed at Peter Jackson for cutting stuff out of Lord of the Rings?
Well, yeah,
You're
because
gonna talk to me about
because we're gonna have to because we need a 48-hour movie experience, and whatnot. I think
just general,
and I think the general consensus is I know, right? Maybe we do, but it's not palatable. I guess is really my argument. And I you know, where would you even start as far as that thing? Peter Jackson had an opportunity. He had literally a limitless repertoire of like Lord of the Rings material and whatnot, and he had to tell the story with what he had made available. And as far as the adaptation, that adaptation word is concerned, Peter Jackson did very well. And I'm.
I do want to hear Jackie's thoughts before I say that. I'm going to hear your thoughts in just a second. I just want to interject. I have to add my thought right here. And you guys are going on that tangent of adaptation versus good movie. It's true. A movie can be a horrible adaptation of a book and still be a great movie. Vis-a-vis, a movie can be a fantastic adaptation of a book and be a terrible movie if it just didn't translate right.
Jurassic Park, different mediums.
Yeah, exactly. Jurassic Park is my favorite book. It is also my favorite movie. I think that the movie is a horrendous adaptation of the book. It's really nothing like the book in a lot of ways. But by God, is it not the greatest film to grace the silver screen?
What made it good was not the fact that it was an accurate adaptation of Michael
Crichton's masterpiece. And you should put your Jurassic Park hat right in the frame there.
Yeah, right.
Right there. That is...
Yeah, mess up that autofocus. Mess it up.
that is the money right there. Anyways, now that I've gotten my fanboy out of the way, let's go to Jackie with her thoughts.
Okay, so as far as Garrett was talking about world building, Brad Bird did Tomorrowland, and I'd say that was some fantastic world building with the whole Tomorrowland. And as far as Peter Jackson, he does do very well with world building, but can he also do a family-friendly movie and also do some action for the battle scenes? Do you think he's solid with that?
He literally has some of the largest scale battles under his belt as far as the Battle of Helm's Deep is concerned, the Battle of Minas Tirith.
But Pokemon is a 1v1 battle.
Absolutely. And Lord of the Rings is full of good one. The Balrog versus Gandalf. Yeah,
that's good.
I mean, again, I'm gonna have to continue relying on Lord of the Rings answers here. But if we're talking about where his resume stands as far as what's a proven repertoire, battling is very good. And again, I'm showing my bias here as somebody who's all about the battles in Pokemon, which I did catch Chris saying earlier, kind of quoting me on that my sort of agreement there. And I really like Bird. Bert's awesome,
He's
and he
great.
really's good.
Everything he does.
I don't know. I'm worried about it being regressive in terms of like what we've already seen in a Pokemon movie. You know, we have a lot of like Pokemon movies out there that succeed at being children's movies,
And they are all animated.
and they're all animated. And you know, like Brad Bird could make an amazing movie, but like I just don't know if it would just be a really good version of what we've already seen.
Okay, I'm also looking for a Pokemon movie in, like, you know, the hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe even 2.5 hour frame. I'm not looking
The
for a
4.5 director's
3-part
cut.
movie here.
I'm
I'm not looking for Return of Ash 2.
I want to see
and
like Victory.
the prequel of Ash.
I want the Victory Road trilogy. I want the box set of it, and I want the red, yellow, blue sort of like thing. I want it right there on my
There
mantle.
will be so much walking.
Jackie
Just say Lord of the Rings.
Jackie critiqued Peter Jackson. She didn't critique Steven Spielberg.
All right, Steven Spielberg. Let's go. Let's go.
I do love the idea that in Peter Jackson's 12-movie Pokemon series,
Yeah, right.
the first 3 movies they still wouldn't be out of Pallet Town.
Yeah, right. It was just like
I'm just gonna add.
we're walking.
I'm just gonna add Chris's argument of Indiana Jones. If you're gonna take Indiana Jones, you have to take it Indiana Jones as its whole, and he made Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
That's true.
That was good.
That
but
was
the round
terrible.
is over.
But Indiana Jones 5 is coming out, and that actually should be pretty good.
Oh, should it, Chris? We'll see.
Allegedly.
a lot of speculation about it, Chris. I know speculation rhymes with Spielberg.
I mean,
right?
I'll give Spielberg one more chance, but for the sake of argument, who knows? But all right, here's
We
what I'm
don't
going
have
to say.
any choice. He's
This is the
Spielberg.
most objective out of any of them, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is definitely the hardest one to judge.
And I feel
Honestly,
nervous that I've argued against what would inherently be your knee-jerk reaction.
I'm going to be honest. I would see all these movies if for whatever reason Nintendo was like, you know, screw it. Everybody
let's
gets to
make
make a
all of them.
Pokemon movie.
Let's make them all.
Now,
Let's do it.
here's the thing. Here's the
I
real
don't really
here's the
know
real
why.
trick. Everybody was explaining their director's like overall vision of the scope of their movie, which is great, which is basically what the answer was. Nobody really told me anything like, you know, what the movie's gonna be about. Like, oh, like Spielberg's movie would be about like Ash and Pikachu and their
I don't
relationship.
feel like that was the question.
It wasn't the question,
What's the
but
question?
It wasn't pitch a
But because
Pokemon movie
no
and
one's
name a
the best
director.
Hey, I'm the judge. It's my turn to talk. I'm just saying nobody gave an answer like that, so it's fine. It kind of neutralizes everything. But I would have loved to have heard something like that. Although Jackie did mention things about the like the boy and the robot and Iron Giant, and Chris also mentioned E.T. So I mean, there was kind of like
He mentioned
vagueness.
it after me.
Yeah, there was kind of vagueness. There was kind of vagueness for like that kind of thing, but you didn't say how that relationship in that movie would relate to a relationship in the movie you're talking about.
It's hard to do in
Anyways,
90 seconds.
I know, but anyways, all I want to say is that these are all great answers. I would have gone with like someone like Alfonso Cuarón, who did do world building battles and fun stuff in Prisoner of Azkaban, and also worked with children, which I think is really important for a Pokemon movie. But anyways, all right. So these answers. Okay.
Are
You
allowed
know,
to
you
do
can't
ties?
see Andy yet back there, but Andy, off the top of your head, who do you think gave the best answer?
Wow.
Oh, it's a very hard decision, but I'm kind of leaning more toward Garrett's answers.
Really?
Just because of just the epic world. I'm not a huge fan of Pokemon, so honestly he had me at Lord of the Rings, so maybe you should ask
Lord of the Rings. That's very interesting.
Yeah, right? Wait,
right.
I don't know about this other thing, but you're saying it could be like Lord of the Rings? Whatever that is. Whatever that
Andy,
is.
you like Ratatouille?
But actually, let me do that because I just recalled Ratatouille, which is one of my favorite Pixar movies, if not the favorite animated movie. And Brad Bird, he could.
Wait.
And then Steven Spielberg.
We're not arguing that. We're not arguing
Hold
that.
on.
You're
Gary,
wearing
ask
a
the camera.
Jurassic Park
What hat is Andy wearing right now? A Jurassic Park hat.
Yeah.
I do want to say.
Which is a good movie.
It turns out. You heard it here first, folks.
Richie's
Jurassic
favorite
Park is a good movie.
I'm
Ultimate
sorry,
Man.
I'm split between the three because each one is such a great.
We
answer.
pitched.
Very
And
fun.
what's
We
interesting
pitched
is
good
like it was
answers,
really a reflection of like what each of us would
Yeah.
really want to see in a Pokemon movie, and it turns out we envisioned 3 radically different Pokemon movies.
Richie,
Okay.
can there be ties? Out of curiosity.
I'm considering giving no one a point for this round
Oh,
just because
no.
it was so good. Everyone gave such great answers. There's really no winner here. Everybody chose a good director and adequately said what kind of great Pokemon movie that director would make. Ergo, there's no clear winner. Therefore, no one gets a point in round 4.
No contest.
You could also give all of us a point.
Would equal the same thing.
So we'd all.
Actually, you know what? I do have to give everyone a point because the winner has to reach 5 points. So everybody's at 2 points. Everybody's at 2 points. Good interjection, Chris.
That was fair.
All right.
I feel better about that.
And now we're getting to by far my favorite question. I'm just kidding.
By far my favorite.
Round 5, and the question starts with Jackie. Whoa, somebody was going for 12 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. I forgot to reset. All right. All right, Jackie. So, wow. How could How could Pokemon Go evolve? And I could have said how could Pokemon Go improve, but I want to use the word evolve because it's Pokemon. All right. How could it evolve, Jackie? Go.
I think just taking Niantic out of the picture completely, just giving it to somebody else. Maybe Pokemon Nintendo could even develop their own app. They're really good at apps and such. So I think that they could develop a Pokemon Go totally fine on their own without Niantic. And so, as I was told that the servers were not the problem. And so, I'm going to take that out of the way with the, Niantic not updating their servers. But that event they had in Chicago was a lot of their fault too, because just the way that they handle their business is it's just awful. Like they sold all those tickets and they couldn't even let everybody in. They didn't give refunds for the people that got those tickets. So no Niantic.
All right, Niantic sucks. Got it. All right, Chris, how could Pokemon Go evolve?
What is the catchphrase for the entire Pokemon franchise? Gotta catch them all. Thank you. So there's a lot of things that people have been wanting in Pokemon Go, and I absolutely believe that trading is the biggest one. And I think trading, even though this hasn't even been brought up yet, is more desired. Well, I'll wait for the rebuttal section. Here's why. Right now there's a window where you can only get legendaries for 1 week. If you didn't get an Articuno, then you can't get one until who knows when Niantic's going to release them again. If we introduce trading, then what that means is that if you get a really rare legendary and somebody else gets one and you guys didn't get one, you can trade. And then that's great for the people that just want to complete the Pokedex. For those that are super hardcore and want to get the 100% IV Pokemon, for those of you that don't know, IV is the hidden statistics that say how strong a Pokemon is and can be. You could trade those. So trading would be great because now you really have a chance to not only catch them all, you can get the very best like no one ever was. So trading is key. It's going to help people really take things to the next level. It's going to be social, so you're going to have another reason to meet up with people. There's going to be fun stuff. I think that they probably do plan to do it someday. I just don't know when. There's, of course, things they have to take into consideration to prevent hacking, but they've been doing a good job banning spoofers. So I think that trading will be great because you can catch them all. And you can get really rare ones that you missed out on.
All right, and now it goes to Garrett. Garrett, how can Pokemon Go evolve?
Right. Okay. So, and I apologize for this, but I am going to give a boring answer here because it just has to be done. I feel like, unfortunately, as it stands right now, what is going to save the future of Pokemon Go lies in such a trivial answer, and as a ground-up redesign of the client. Chris has already brought up the very valid telecommunications relevant point that right now the current data rate sort of expectations of Pokemon Go constantly stress out infrastructure, and not only that, but confine the game really to almost exclusively good play within certain city centers and immediately outside city centers. Rural access is not that great. The whole thing, kind of struggles in the access of certain cellular limitations. Also, we're reaching a point where aforementioned problem has prevented us on adding all these other things. The trading system, PvP battle systems, all these sort of things that could be a thing are going to get tacked onto an already struggling client that uses too much bandwidth. and they're only going to exacerbate existing problems. I would like to see Pokemon Go like just go on a lull for about 4 months, and then like early 2018 we see Pokemon Go 2.0, the re-release. It looks totally different. It's restructured. It stores more locally on the phone. It doesn't rely so much on point-to-point sort of archetypes, and it doesn't require so much insane transfer to and from. That would allow us to do everything that we need to do if we can figure out a client that's a little bit lighter.
Ding.
I like it.
All right.
It does have to ding.
So, I just realized that because my chair is different than everyone else's, it does make me look a little bit shorter. Oh well.
He's not shorter. It's okay.
It's just the
Thank
chair.
you for clarifying.
I swear. All right.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay,
He's
so
a little bit taller than me.
we got real technical with this one. So basically, Jackie, you want a complete different developer to come in and basically fix up the game.
Mm-hmm.
Gary, you want Niantic themselves to redesign the game.
Yes, I have an argument against Jackie's.
And then
I'll
Chris,
get into.
you just want trading because duh. Yeah.
Trading cause duh is a valid concern.
I'm actually really surprised that Garrett didn't say PvP, well, like he did earlier, because that would have been tough to argue against.
You're already starting it, but here we go.
I didn't want to say PvP.
If Garrett had said PvP, it'd be trading, no fighting, no trading,
I know,
no fighting.
and honestly,
that would have been fun.
because I pictured that in my mind. I saw you do trading. I wanted to do PvP, but I kind of speculated on it a little bit more, and I'm like, we shouldn't have to choose. We should have both. Because it's a freaking Pokemon game. We should have both. And right now we're staring down a very strong structural limitation that means that neither of us win in that fight. It can't be tacked on in the current architecture.
I'd say, as far as Jackie's point goes, Niantic got chosen because they made Ingress, which was one of the first really well-received games that required you to do the augmented reality go
Which
and
is
play
just
stuff.
a skin on top.
Which is So that's why Niantic got it, because they had the most successful augmented reality geocaching game.
Mm-hmm.
As for Garrett's thing, I mean, it'd be great for them to redesign it from the ground up. But what you're saying, I still don't even quite understand what you're saying. You're saying more user load. Like if it comes down to,
We need to stress the devices a little bit more.
My understanding is the cell phone servers, like the cell phone towers, they gotta build more of them, or we need a new technology breakthrough, or we need some encryption like a la
Do you want to wait for those, though? Or are we going to solve this with a software solution?
I mean, it's a little glitchy here and there, but
Are we going to wait until... Because I can tell you with certainty that we're still a few years out from the next big jump in LTE.
I would say they could clearly introduce trading, because they've introduced a lot of stuff. It's something that they could introduce, I think, now without... I think that Garrett is right that that's going to help in the long run, but I think that we're just going to get that for free with technology upgrades and cell phones.
Interject when you want, please. I'm going to keep fighting with him, though.
Trading is something that would make tons of people.
Don't you feel like,
excited
though,
to
that
play.
trading, kind of negates a lot of what Pokemon is about? Because so much of it is about traveling and doing this sort of stuff. Because, it's like going to the place, catching the thing and whatnot. And if you can just have your Super Gosu friend... Like me, I don't leave my house to go do Pokemon Go. I do it at work exclusively, during the times that it's convenient, and that's it. But because I know you as a dedicated Pokemon Go player, I just have you fish me stuff. All of a sudden, I've got stuff I don't deserve and haven't earned within the archetype of Pokemon Go.
Well, somebody
And it
still has to
ruined
go
the
out.
urgency.
Somebody still has to go out. I mean, you could ruin the urgency now with, basically giving a friend
We don't
your
want
login.
we don't want a whole bunch of couch warriors on Pokemon Go. It literally defeats the purpose, and
I
that's
think
kind of the door
people-
trading
But
opens.
the thing is, though, with trading, you would still have to go find
you
that.
got to jump in,
Pokemon.
Jackie.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there because I actually think that trading is a really dangerous idea where
inclined to
adults
agree.
can take advantage of children. You could maybe even like
We saw this with cards.
Yeah,
People couldn't properly assess,
could-
like the value in a lot of
you
cases.
could try and get money or other favors out of people for their Pokemon.
Why did you have to take it there? It's so dark.
This is dangerous.
I would say those concerns that they have, you could still have that same problem.
We did
with
see that
somebody
with,
offering to give a high account. You could pay to give away a current account.
We do
All
see
this
that
is
in a lot of
allowed.
MMOs.
So I would
That's
say
true.
I would say the issues you would have with trading would currently exist because you could scalp a high quality account. You could scalp
That
spoof.
exists in
You could-
any
you
major
could
MMO.
spoof, and you can give people those. So
But
I'd say
you
it's
know-
still a problem.
Trading
will make it really
Niantic,
fun.
when they have one little tiny problem that they can't figure out, they're just going to take it away from you altogether. It's just no trading. If something even goes
It's almost
wrong,
like if we expanded the
like the
software
ad
environment,
attackers.
we wouldn't have to.
I
I
think Niantic will at some point bring trading around, because here's another thing. Right now, you can't get certain Pokemon that are region locked in out of countries. Like, the average player isn't going to fly to China, so trading actually would help people complete their Pokedex. Unless they swap the Pokemon. I think trading will... Any problems...
I think if Pokemon showed up a little bit less frequently, and we were barred by more than just geographical barriers, it would be more interesting.
I think the only thing that you could argue...
You can just ding! You can just ding! It's literally in your power!
Eric should have said PvP, because that... You could have made the argument that PvP fighting would be better.
I liked your choice.
Thank you. It was boring, unfortunately, but I felt pretty
All right. So, I think I need to hear just 10 seconds more from Jackie on why getting rid of Niantic completely and replacing with a different developer is a good idea.
I would almost be curious as to what developer too, but don't feel like you have to answer me.
I did not think of what developer. Actually, I did. I thought just Nintendo doing its own thing would be fine. But anyway, Niantic loves to put in these great ideas and then not present. And I feel like Nintendo usually presents with what that you're expecting, and I feel like Niantic's just no.
They're just no.
Here's the thing. I'm inclined to agree with that answer, because Niantic did promise. They overpromised a lot. That first commercial for Pokemon Go is nothing like what we actually got.
Absolutely not.
No, actually, the first Pokemon for Pokemon Go is them
Did you
all
see
fighting
Mewtwo in the
Mewtwo.
thing? Did you see Mewtwo?
It's raids. They just introduced raids. It's true that it took a year, but it really is important to know the reason that Niantic was picked and not Nintendo is because they made an AR.
I understand that, Chris. But hear me out.
No, there's a lot of
I know that raids are
complications.
now here, but still, trading was in that first commercial. Battling one-on-one with a friend was in that first commercial. We still don't have really either of those things.
But the reason that Nintendo didn't do
Hey,
it...
you're not arguing with me. I'm just stating facts.
No, I'm saying you really do have to know that Nintendo would not want to gamble on having to go do all the cell phone towers.
Right.
Like, that's why
I'm
they
not-
gave it
I'm
to
not saying
Nintendo.
that-
Nintendo
I'm not
does
saying-
not want to gamble with
Here's what I'm
trading
saying.
Pokemon either.
Choosing Niantic as the Fallout developer, not the game Fallout, but I'm saying they're taking the Fallout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So choosing Niantic to be the one to develop it and get all the criticism, that was a good idea. Now that Niantic has put the stepping stones there, let's put a better developer in there now that has a better grasp of games.
And created.
Oh, it could be anyone. Nintendo,
pretty
Game
cool.
Freak, Game Freak and Nintendo, they could step in and do it themselves now. They have Niantic put in the stepping stones. They have the base game right there. Now a better developer can come in and improve upon everything in the game, because I don't trust Niantic to improve upon the crap that they've already built. I mean, I haven't been able to get
To be
Pokemon.
fair,
I've been
to
able to
be
get Pokemon
fair,
Go to work on my phone in over a year.
To be fair, though, Richie, you're playing with a really, really, really old smartphone.
It's just an iPhone 4S. It should still be able to play.
That's
Put
from like
Pokemon
5
Go.
years ago.
It's not that complicated. Come on.
Because that's what the game needs is a 15-year-long legal battle over consumer rights and a potential economic fallout.
Also, Niantic's even just business policies are terrible. They have no PR, or at least at the beginning they didn't have any PR. I haven't
It's
looked
bad.
into it since then, but
Right.
I mean they're just a mess.
I actually don't know why
They've
Nintendo
been-
didn't pick up
Niantic,
the pieces there.
has been communicating a lot better. Like, there have been glitches, like there were Premier Ball glitches where the last Premier Ball wouldn't work in a raid, so now they're giving an extra one to counter it off.
No,
they've-
Niantic!
Okay.
They've been trying real hard.
All right. So here's how this is going to work, because remember, everybody got a point in round 4.
Yes, this is literally
So-
the deciding.
So nobody
Oh, yeah.
gets
deciding
So you
part.
have to give 2 points, I guess?
So here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Technically,
Technically,
Jackie wins round 5. However, that means that Chris and Garrett
we have
are
to do a
tied.
bonus round.
So the first round of the speed round is actually going to go to you two, and then Jackie will come
That's
in
fair.
on round 2 of the
I
speed
got
round.
to do
So this is going to be a unique speed round. Speed round!
Alright, at least we all
Graphics.
get making the speed.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know.
This is where everything goes
job.
out the window. All of my research.
Alright.
Oh, jeez.
So,
Alright.
Question 1 of the speed round.
Can you remind us how the speed round
The way
works
that the speed
again?
round works is that you will each get 20 seconds to defend your answer and then a 10-second rebuttal.
Got it. And you pick who goes first?
I do pick who goes first. Chris, you will go first. 20 seconds. The question is... Actually, I'm forgetting my own rules. I'm going to say 2 options. Whoever shouts the one first goes first. So, wait till I'm completely done. Fire or lightning?
Fire.
Garrett goes first. Okay, 20 seconds. Why fire over lightning? And these are Pokemon elements. Go.
Fair enough. Well, you're going to notice that there's... I mean, fire is the iconic power, powerhouse, sort of the archetype as far as the power moves are concerned. Fire Pokemon are generally acquired later in game. They are generally very special attack heavy, and I think more so than lightning, every time you see a fire Pokemon in major repertoires.
Cool. Chris, 20 seconds. You're lightning.
Yeah, lightning is great because there's not that many good lightning Pokemon, and many of the legendaries are flying. So in the original game, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres are all flying. If you want to take them down, you need a strong electric. Fire is oversaturated. Electric is kind of rare. If you got a powerful electric Pokemon, you can really get a lot of legendaries.
10 seconds, Garrett, go.
You introduced a good archetype with which in lightning is useful, but I would say fire is more useful overall in terms of PvP.
All right, Chris, 10 seconds.
It depends on which Pokemon you're using. I mean, when it comes to the 3 legendary birds, Zapdos is the most powerful. At least as far as base stats go.
All right.
Chris and his legendaries.
I would literally, if that was my rule, I would go, you can't use legendaries, it's in play! But
Wow, that...
you have to disregard that, because I didn't get a chance to screech that like a child. Apologies.
That was me in the first round.
Yeah. That didn't make my dilemma any easier. What do you think, Andy? Who won that?
Another speed round?
Steven Spielberg!
You can say tie. I'm down to do another one.
Oh, shoot.
I'm going to run out of speed round questions.
You can do all the speed rounds. I'm okay. I concede.
No, you are in this because you did good.
All right.
Jackie, you probably know more about Pokemon.
You defend the honor of your ancestors.
All
This is
right.
the Pokemon
We're
game.
probably going to go through all the questions here.
I know a lot about Pokemon, but I'm really bad at arguing.
All right. I'm going to use one more speed round question for you guys. I'm going to use one more speed round for you. Nobody won a point for that one. That was
too
close. Okay.
That's good.
So I'm going to give you one more, and then...
Must have been a dumb question.
Yeah. All right. All right. Wait until I'm done speaking to give your answer.
Richie, can you ring the bell when you're done? That way we know.
Oh, okay, fine, I will.
Yeah.
Red or Ash?
Red.
Damn it, you
Heard it from Garrett first.
Yeah.
All right, 20 seconds, Garrett.
Sorry.
Go.
Despite Ash being the iconic figure of the anime, like, let's just be real. Red is awesome. Red is the picturesque, like perfection of the trainer. Everybody else who comes subsequent in the story is trying to live up to his grandeur.
All right,
you have one job.
All right, Chris, 20 seconds, go.
I would say Ash is more relatable. Red is too perfect. He basically has no flaws. He's a mindless guy in a game that just burns through everything. Ash, yeah, he might kind of suck and make a lot of dumb things, but he's human and you care for him. Who is Red aside from just a zombie?
Ooh, okay. 10-second rebuttal, Garrett.
As far as the presentation is concerned, I really wish Ash would have accomplished something interesting, whereas Red is literally the baseline of perfection in the universe. We want to catch them all. That's what he did.
I gave you an extra few seconds since you took a while to start speaking.
I know. For some reason, my tongue was just not ready.
10 seconds, Chris, go.
The Pokemon theme song is for the show. That's where a lot of nostalgia is. I would say it's true that Red is, the perfection, but Ash has heart. We care about Ash.
Wow, I can't believe that you came back from that with Ash, Chris.
I really thought that it was the end for Chris. Wow.
I'm sorry, Garrett, but Chris gave an excellent reason for why you should pick Ash.
I think you're just like I just think you wanted to root for the underdog. That being said, I'll defer to your judgment.
Oh, man. But now, Garrett, you get to help me decide, and that will make things a little bit easier.
Okay.
Sorry, Garrett. I went for the feels, not the reels.
Yeah, well, that was the only way you were going to win, and you did it, so good job.
Oh, man.
Well,
I thought I was ready to be like, oh my god, I got red. Like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
The
I know
whole show is about everybody trying to be red. Like,
I was thinking in my head, I was like, yikes, like, there's no way.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
Good job, Garrett. There you go. You spoke first. But
Okay,
Not
so
surprises sometimes.
we're starting because of that. We're starting out the speed round where, basically, remember that was just a way to
decide who wins
who was
the
going into
speed
the speed round. So technically, Chris, you still have 2 points. Jackie has 3. So you gotta come out of it that way.
Oh, really? I don't get one for being
No, because she wasn't a part of that. That was just to see who got in. Make sense?
So,
Okay.
wait, how many questions are left, though?
There are 3 questions.
So I would
left.
have to win
all 3,
all 3, or win 2 and tie.
or win 2 and tie. It's true.
do you want me to start thinking about maybe
After-
another question? Another question or two?
Yes, go ahead and
Okay.
start thinking of something. Basically, whoever's going to get to 5 points first is the winner. So theoretically, we could need 1 or 2 more questions even.
Okay.
Because we took up 2 to do that. It's fine. Alright, let's get
Okay.
started here. So speed round, technically question 3, sorta. Alright, wait till I'm done. 2 games are in the bargain bin at GameStop. Which do you choose? Pokemon Snap or Pokemon Stadium?
Pokemon Stadium. Sorry, Pokemon
Snap! You're supposed to wait till the ding.
Stadium. Sorry. Did
Okay.
I throw you off?
That being said, you chose different
You
answers.
chose different answers anyway.
Okay.
So it's not a problem.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to Chris first, though, because he waited till after the bell.
Sure.
Okay? So, Chris, what was your answer?
Pokemon Snap.
Alright, you have 20 seconds
Yeah.
starting now.
Pokemon Snap was a unique, fun game. I personally played Pokemon Snap more than Pokemon Stadium. I owned both. We have not seen a game like Pokemon Snap since then. What was fascinating is it took photography and you got rated on your pictures. Pokemon Stadium's fun, but you get bored of battling Pokemon because every game's a battle. What other game can you even think of where you were ranked on photography?
Alright, 20 seconds, Jackie, go.
I think another game that you were ranked on photography would be like Fatal Frame. Is that the horror movie? But anyway,
Affirmative.
Anyway, so besides the fact that you just said that Stadium's only about fighting, Pokemon Snap is only about taking pictures. So and they've made plenty of Pokemon Stadiums over the time, and only one Snap.
Chris, 10 seconds, go.
Pokemon Snap, they need to make a sequel to it. It would sell like crazy. I think that it's true that fighting is fun, but we already have fighting in the games. Now they have all these other extra fighting things. You know, Snap is unique.
That
You
was
can
10
fight-
seconds, Chris.
Sorry.
Alright, 10 seconds, Jackie, go.
You know, Pokemon is about the fighting. It's not about the photos. Pokemon Snap was a fun little gimmick, but throughout the ages, we know that the fighting is what has conquered.
Okay. Whew. Another close call. Everybody defends their stuff really well. Andy, any thoughts?
Fighting.
Fighting. So you would go with Stadium?
Yes.
Garrett?
I mean, objectively, I really liked Chris's argument about the fact that Snap stands on its own as something that is just wildly unique as a Pokemon experience. That one really resonates with me. That being said, the theme of today has been Pokemon is about fighting. Now, whether or not you feel that, you know, Snap's uniqueness and just sheer novelty stands on its own, or whether or not Pokemon Arena as just the isolation of pure, raw, you know, fighting power that Jackie pointed out, is a more better representation of the answer.
Who do you think argued it better?
I thought Chris was slightly better in that case. Or at least he sounded more confident. You gotta stop that shaky tone, girl.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, Jackie, you're ahead anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and
Just
take the
can you just
point
give it to me
here.
the kitty?
It seems like
I did really good.
Chris gave me a better reason for why we should buy Pokemon Snap, I think. So it's 3-3 now. Tied up. Okay. Question number 4. Wait till the bell is rung to give your answer. What is the best Pokemon generation?
Generation 4.
Generation 2.
Alright. Jackie, 20 seconds. Generation 4, go.
Generation 4 comes with a lot of the Pokemon that have evolved from Pokemon from Generation 1, 2, and 3. So you're getting a lot of the third evolutions of some of them that we thought we'd never have a third generation of. Or
Alright.
third evolution stage of.
Chris, 20 seconds, go.
Generation 2 is great because it continues the continuity of Generation 1. We saw Ho-Oh in the original Pokemon pilot, then we finally get to see it again in Gen 2. The game is great because not only do you do Kanto and Johto, so you get both. I would say after you get to Generation 3 and beyond, the art style really kind of changes. You get weird, like, trash can Pokemon and snowflakes, and Gen 2 looks like Gen 1.
Okay, Jackie, 10-second rebuttal. Go.
Actually, the trash Pokemon comes from Generation 5. And, but anyway,
I said
aside from that,
after Gen 2.
after Gen 2, I'd say that Gen 4 has a really good storyline in the anime, and also Generation 4's Diamond and Pearl.
I gave you a few extra seconds because you stumbled. It's alright. Chris, 10 seconds starting now.
Yeah, I would say some of the coolest legendaries came out of Generation 2. We got Ho-Oh, we got Lugia, we got the legendary dogs, we got Celebi. I would say Generation 2 is a very nice mirror to 1.
Andy, thoughts?
No. I know none of this.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Garrett, thoughts?
I'm a little conflicted here because Gen 2, they both really touched on what was really good about the generations. Gen 2 was the first time we got a new Pokemon generation, as pointed out by Chris, the first time that we got an expansion of the Pokedex, and it was a strong generation. It was. And for better and for worse, the most like Generation 1. Meanwhile, Jackie's correct in the fact that it's compounding, and I think that competitively speaking, Gen 4 is probably, you know, the most sought after. I'm gonna go ahead and actually get. I am gonna vote for Jax in that
I was
round
thinking
by
the
a
same
very
thing.
very slim margin.
Okay, so that's 4 points
Yeah.
for Jackie and 3 points for Chris. If Jackie wins this question, she wins the game.
No, I'm not
If
gonna.
Chris wins this question, he will have to win an additional question to win the game.
Oh, man.
So here we go,
Alright.
question 5. Wait for the ding. What is the best feature about Pikachu?
Oh, you're not going to give us options.
Nope.
Oh, he's the mascot.
His friendship with Ash.
Okay, we have answers here. So 20 seconds, Jackie. Why is Pikachu? What'd you say?
He's the mascot.
Okay, why is Pikachu being the mascot the best thing about Pikachu? Go.
You know, everyone sees the mascot. They always see all the merchandise with Pikachu. It's all about Pikachu because he's the mascot and he's really cute, yellow, and he's a little cute electric mouse.
You have more time. You have much more time.
He's cute.
Okay. Chris, why your answer? You have 20 seconds. Go.
You teach me, and I'll teach you. Ultimately, Pokemon really comes down to the friendship between the trainer and the Pokemon. I think that the friendship between Ash and Pikachu is really heartwarming and unique, particularly in the anime. And I think that it's, you know, a true best friend who has his back. Pikachu even cries, and, you know, it's
Okay. Jackie, 10 seconds. Go.
I am basing this on the games and not the anime because the anime, this is video game fights. Whereas in Yellow, you don't really get a whole lot of the.
All right.
The breadth of that relationship.
Yes.
I think
So-
that's what you were saying.
Yes.
Everybody, wait, did you guys
No,
both
I-
get 10 seconds? You get
No,
10
I didn't
seconds?
get everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
And go.
Okay, it's true that the friendship is in the anime, but it's also in the games because it's about the bond that you create with the Pokemon from the beginning to the end. Yellow version being the pinnacle. You pick Pikachu, he follows you in the game. He follows you.
That's it.
He
Okay.
follows you.
All right, I'm really going to need help with this one. Andy, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that the sort of being the icon of the whole series, Pikachu, that's what I always thought. And I'm not a big fan, so this is just coming from me. Like, if I was going to go get something for someone, Pikachu would just, oh, Pikachu, boing. And it would not be because I know what it is. I know what it is, but it's just because I know that's what everybody loves. It's a good plushie, you know?
Awesome.
So,
Garrett.
I'm actually pretty solidly with Chris on this one.
Really?
Yeah. Reason being that Pikachu is actually kind of an uninteresting Pokemon to me. He's cute. He's cute for sure. But the reason he is interesting is because he was by far and wide the most humanized Pokemon in the presentation of the whole thing. Now, Jackie made the single largest crushing counter-argument to it in the fact that a lot of Chris's argument hangs on non-video game material. So that is really up to you. Now, on the flip side, it's impossible to ignore the fact that the video games were clearly designed to capitalize on the crux that other media, you know, sort of presented to it. I don't think we can ignore that. But the single most defeating argument, I think Chris far and away presents the best reason why Pikachu is most loved, but Jackie presents the counter argument in the fact that like maybe the video games alone don't create that.
That's exactly why this is tough, because this is video game fights, and Ash's relationship with Pikachu is pretty exclusive to the anime.
Right, and those video games don't exist in a vacuum.
Yeah.
So that's and they weren't intended to.
So I am really tempted to. You've got some questions, right?
I do have questions.
Here's
That
what
being
I'm gonna
said,
So are we allowed to say any more?
No. Here's what's going on. So as you know, it's 4-3.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to say is we've got more questions, so I think what's going to happen is nobody gets a point. We're going to ask you an additional question.
Oh, okay.
All right, so it's still 4-3. So this question now, Jackie gets it, she wins. Chris has to get 2 more. So Garrett, I'm going to let you
pause. I want to confer with you real quick to see which question you want me to answer.
Oh, you got 2.
Yeah, okay.
That was a really good comeback, by the way. I wish I had more time to rebut it, but that was a really good crushing comeback.
Thank you. I
What
thought that I chose
Yeah.
on that spot, and I was like, oh, what is this?
You know, I related to your answer more because I don't know anything about Pokemon other than I watched a couple episodes when I was in 14 years old, and that's about as much Pokemon as I know. And I tried the Pokemon Go too, but yeah, I can't get it to work on my phone. So.
Oh, really?
Well, I have gotten a new phone since, but I'm not gonna.
All right,
Andy,
that's
oh man, I'm like really into Pokemon Go.
I think that's great. Yeah.
All right. Cameras are still rolling, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh man.
All right. I have confirmed with Garrett. This is the very last question. Someone is. Oh, unless Chris gets the question, this will be it. All right. So here's the question, and wait for the ding to give me your answer. Which other video game IP should Pokemon cross over with?
Sorry.
Oh
It's a hard
jeez. Hold on, I gotta think about this.
I'm gonna go with Bethesda again. Rooting back.
What
when you say
what
IP,
games? What universe
What
specifically?
Universe. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. I don't want to do that.
It's a good one.
That is really tough.
IP. I see.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Like
hold
you
on.
would have to pick
It could be
like
any.
Pokemon
It could be any
and
video.
Skyrim or
Yes.
Pokemon
Alright.
and
I've got it. Digimon.
Oh,
Pokemon and
interesting.
Digimon.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, and Jackie, your answer?
IP. So, video games.
What? Yeah, like what video game have you played that you're like, you know what this game needs? Pokemon.
Minecraft.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
That could be pretty
Excellent.
strong. Okay.
All right, Chris, 20 seconds. You are Digimon. Go.
Pokemon and Digimon both had animes, they both had trading cards, and they both had video games. The video games by Digimon weren't quite as popular, but I would say a crossover game would be great, and it could be just like Marvel vs. Capcom, or DC vs. Marvel, or any big franchise. So it'd be a fighting game, really simple, and it would just be the two genres versus each other because many people saw Digimon as basically the Pepsi to Pokemon's Coca-Cola.
All right. I gave you a few extra seconds because I wasn't paying attention. So Jackie, you get 25 seconds. Go.
Okay. I'd say that Pokemon and Digimon are totally, like, the fan bases are so attached, like, disattached from each other that there's, like, rivalries for that. So I don't know how well that would work. But anyway, with Pokemon and Minecraft, you can have Pokemon that you're looking for in your little pixelated world. And, much like an open world building, you can also catch the Pokemon and...
10 seconds, Chris. Go.
I would say we've already got a lot of Minecraft knockoffs. We got Minecraft Mario. We never saw a Pokemon versus Digimon, and that was something many people wanted to see, and it would be really well played.
10 seconds, Jackie.
I think that a lot of people would want to see Pokemon and a Minecraft mixed together. You're saying that people would want to see that. I think people would also want to see mine.
Okay. All right. Any
Man.
thoughts, Andy?
I think, Chris, you probably gave the best argument, and it just seems like, the chocolate to milk kind of a thing. It's almost, you have to do those two things together. So I'd have to give this one to Chris.
Garrett?
As much as I don't even know if I like Chris's game idea. Chris's argument was really strong. Now, because it would have to be in a combative sense, and you brought that up.
have to be fighting.
You should have just pitched. You should have just like built up your own, sort of like world as opposed to trying to attack Chris's idea.
I also am going to go with Chris, which means that we are 4-4, and we are going for a historic 7th question.
Good, you're doing good.
One more question, and that means there's only really one place we can go with this question.
Can I ask it?
Yes, Garrett, you can ask it. And Garrett, ask your question.
Gotcha.
Wait for the ding to answer.
So talking about the future of the franchise, the next and it can be anything. It could be, but for the sake of argument on video game fights, let's say the next place to take a Pokemon video game, chronologically, would you like to see a Pokemon game that transports us to the far past of that universe and explores the origins in a more either prehistoric or ancient sense, or would you like to see it transported to the far future to see the origins of where Pokemon and mankind further their bond?
So past or future?
Prehistoric.
Past.
Future then.
Cool.
Okay, Jackie, 20 seconds past.
All right. I think that there would be a lot of great information about a Pokemon game in the past, like how were Pokeballs invented. You could even have a generation of all these new Pokemon that maybe some of these Pokemon have evolved into that we know and love through all the other generations. I think that would just be a very fantastic.
Chris, 20 seconds, go.
What's great about the future is we can go full-blown sci-fi. At that point now, we're not just catching Pokemon in one city or one town. We can go to different planets. Pokemon could really go to the next levels. A really giant game where you travel to different worlds and get Pokemon that are alien.
All right, 10-second rebuttal, Jackie.
We're talking about Pokemon here. They barely ever get past, the one town that they're in, or one region that they're in, planets would just be a little too big of a story for...
I'll give you a few extra seconds for stumbling. Chris, 10 seconds, go.
Past is going to be boring, it's going to be limiting, hard to pull off because we've already got fossil Pokemons. We want to go forward, not backward. There's more to explore, and we've set the bar so high with the franchise. Sci-fi's the way to go.
I have a clear winner, but I will save my thoughts. Andy, what do you think?
Knowing not a whole lot of Pokemon, I'm trying to figure out which one, if either one of you were selling me a story, and I think that the future seems a little overwhelming. So it was a good argument, but just as a non-fan, I think that just seems a little too big for me. So I'd probably want to start with something more of an origin story.
All right, Garrett?
Yeah.
I'm a little biased because I really like sci-fi and I would really want to see that Pokemon future game.
That would be really cool.
And the idea, and Chris touched on the one thing that I thought about when I was writing this question, which is like, the Pokemon universe, the expanded worlds, like what do Pokemon in other places look like? That's so interesting. But if I had to go down to the arguments and whatnot, I would say, Chris, it's kind of interesting because Chris presented a really strong argument, but then no counter argument. So I'm actually a little torn right now.
I have my answer. And so, Andy, you say the past. Gary, you kind of seem to be leaning towards the future.
I see more game in the future.
I think about two things in this speed round, especially questions like this, and that's like, what's the most plausible? What are we going to see? And also, like, how well you guys
relax
into, like, Nintendo. Like, because
soft shirt.
Let me just say this, Chris. You gave a lot of interesting reasons on why a future would be cool, but you didn't really say how that would work in the Pokemon world that we know now.
He did. He brought up the idea of like completely different ecosystems.
Kind of, but like Jackie gave a better reason on why the past works because we have seen those fossil Pokemon. It would be cool to go back to that time period where that's all there are. And
we have seen like 4 of them.
I just feel like that's what's most plausible. And I mean, I love futuristic stuff, but when it comes to Pokemon, I really want to see the origins of how these creatures came to be.
Are you absolutely certain you are picking the argument and not the one that you just like better?
Oh, that's an excellent point. But I was going to say, if Chris had gone into details on like, then Nintendo could do this and this and this, I don't know. It just seemed to me that Jackie was a little bit more on what we would actually see in a real Pokemon game in that time period.
Certainly more concise. There's less to work with there. So
yeah.
I defer to you. We are 7 questions into a wild Viking tiebreaker.
So
I
just want to say, you guys have both battled extremely valiantly. No one should feel bad, but the winner is Jacqueline.
Well done, Jackie. That was tough.
And I've lost track of who's won how many battles in this game so far, but Jackie won this one.
I gotta say, my favorite moment was when Garrett got red, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm out.
Oh, yeah, that
And I
was-
like,
that was
where
it.
can I go? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go for the feels. But
I feel
good job.
liberated in having asked that last question because I was actually pretty proud of that question.
I do want to say I'm really happy that Jackie won this because she's probably the biggest Pokemon fan here, and even though
Jackie deserved to win this
because
one the most.
I'm really into Pokemon Go right now, but I mean Jackie has probably watched like almost every episode, right?
Yeah.
And every
Of
movie.
every season.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I stopped recently with the newest season, but I've seen every
Like
episode.
Jackie's
So,
seen every
excellent.
episode. You've actually grinded out IVs and EV Pokemon.
Oh yeah, I
You've done
have
the most work,
I
certainly.
have 2 full teams, 12 Pokemon that are IV and EV trained.
Yeah.
So
So
I don't.
Like
You don't.
I would say I love Pokemon, but I kind of have a lukewarm relationship with it where I'll get bored with it and then I'll get really into it. Right now I'm really into it. Jackie ultimately is a
Really
consistent
put in her
hardcore
time.
fan, and I'm really happy she won because she.
I know the
likes Pokemon
argumentation
more.
isn't your
It's-
favorite, and I
no,
know
it's-
constructing arguments isn't your strong point, but I'm glad that you were able to sling for something you love so much.
It's hard for me to admit it because I love Pokemon, but Jackie loves Pokemon probably more
Not
than
sponsored,
anybody
wanna be
ever.
sponsored.
I do love.
Good
I've
job,
even,
Pokemon.
I've
Not
even
sponsored,
played
hashtag
PvP,
wanna be
Like
sponsored.
that goes to show you how much I love it.
All right, let's
This
put a
was
cap on
Jackie's
this.
game to win. She is the biggest
Yeah.
Pokemon fan that I know, and so you guys should not feel bad that you lost to Jackie.
Good, I already don't.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for watching Video Game Fights. Let's start at the end. Chris, is there anything you want to plug?
Oh, Pokemon Go's really fun. Like, really enjoying the race
To your
systems.
point that you brought out earlier,
I'm having a lot
get
of fun.
online. Go find a group in your area and participate in the social element. Because other than that, that's the crux of this game.
Yeah.
He's
Cool.
making a hard case for it.
Jackie, plug something.
Come to the Twitch. It's Rich Alvarez Games. Come to the Twitch and watch Wake Up Jacks because we need some more viewers and watch the YouTubes too.
Garrett.
I'm going to plug 2 things. One, selfish, and that's come to my Twitch, twitch.tv/The Complaint Department, where we stream several times a week on a variety of different content. But I want to drive a hard pitch that I have in video game fights before. Join the Rich Alvarez Discord.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, get in the comments. Find somebody who has the link. Hit me up. I'll get you the link because right now we have a growing Discord community that can only suffice to get bigger, and it is the place for like Rich Alvarez content right now and like the future of all of our franchises.
All right, and then you can find us 3 days a week at Rich Alvarez. That's twitch.com/Rich Alvarez Games to watch Wake Up Jacks every Monday, Wednesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then you can watch me sometimes when I decide that I feel like streaming. But a big streaming announcement. By the time this goes online, it'll be this Thursday. So when you're watching this Thursday, this next Thursday, which is Thursday the 17th. Is it Thursday the 17th?
I don't know.
I wish I had a calendar in front of me.
It's a week.
Hi guys. All right. Yes. Thursday the 17th. Thursday the 17th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On the YouTube, we're having a big Jackbox Quiplash party. It'll last at least an hour, maybe 2,
Oh, nice.
where you can come on the Rich Alvarez channel. I know we usually stream on Twitch, but we're streaming on YouTube Thursday the 17th, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be here or do something else that you find interesting in your time. Otherwise, subscribe to youtube.com/Rich Alvarez. I've wasted enough of your time. Thank you for watching Video Game Fights. Don't forget to watch us every Saturday for Video Game Fights. I'm Rich Alvarez. See you.
Thank you for watching Video Game Fights. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of this episode. And watch this video because it's really sweet.